I heard a wild rumor that Cardano's own developers might be secretly building a rival blockchain behind our backs. Now, at first, I thought Cardano was about to be abandoned by its creators, but what I discovered actually next, it completely changed how I see Cardano's future. So here is the story, right? I'm just a regular Cardano guy. And the other day, I stumbled onto some posts in the Cardano community that gave me a mini heart attack, right? People were saying that Midnight, a new project by Cardano's development team, could steal users and money away from Cardano itself. Some even hinted that Input Output Global, IOG, Charles Hoskinson's company that built Cardano, might actually be shifting focus away from ADA towards this mysterious Midnight project. Now, if you hold ADA like I do, then you can imagine the panic, right? I jumped into our free educational Discord, the link is in the description by the way, where a lot of people were asking, is Cardano about to get sidelined by its own sidechain? Now, I knew that I had to get to the bottom of this, not just for the community, but also for my own sanity. By the end of this video, you're going to know the truth about Midnight, why it's not here to kill Cardano. In fact, it might be Cardano's secret weapon, and how this all sparked me to double down on making my ADA work even harder for me. Plus, I'm going to share a new twist in my crypto journey, something about running Unity nodes for passive income. That could interest anyone who's looking to stack even more crypto on the side. Sounds good, right? Well, let's dive in. So I first caught wind of Midnight way back. I think it was like 2022 when we were over in Scotfest in Scotland, Edinburgh, with Charles Hoskinson when it was first announced. Now, there was also some tweets recently on X, and a few kind of prominent voices in the Cardano community that were actually portraying Midnight as if it were a direct competitor to Cardano. So it's interesting, right, to hear them tell it like Midnight might siphon off users' liquidity, maybe even developer attention, right? The conspiracy theory vibe, I guess, was pretty strong, right? Cardano is being abandoned, they would cry. Now, as someone who's been in ADA for many years, running my own stake pool, tracking every update, I kind of felt a knot in my stomach here. Was all of our patience and faith in Cardano about to be undercut by a shiny new project from the very same team? Well, I did what any rational ADA holder would go ahead and do. Deep research mode activated. Now, I searched and scoured the web, social media platforms, talking to friends on Discord, and then I found some clarification that changed everything. Alex Yu, co-founder of the Cardano analytics platform, Tap Tools, basically came out and said, guys, you've got it all wrong. Midnight isn't competing with Cardano at all. Now, according to this guy, Midnight is being built on top of Cardano, an extension of it, not some separate rival chain. In fact, Midnight leverages Cardano's robust infrastructure rather than trying to replace it. Now, that was a pretty huge relief to read. It's kind of like finding out that the new guy, everyone was wary of at work is actually joining your team, not poaching your job. Let me break down what that means in plain English here. Cardano is a public, open blockchain, great for transparency, decentralization, and all of that good stuff. So what it doesn't have though, at least so far, is a built-in privacy. That is where Midnight comes in. See, Midnight is essentially a privacy-focused sidechain in the Cardano ecosystem. It's designed for things like private smart contracts and confidential data processing, use cases where you don't want all of your details exposed on the public ledger. But here is the kicker. Every Midnight transaction still ultimately ties back into Cardano's main chain security mechanism. So in other words, Midnight uses Cardano's consensus, the Ouroboros proof of stake that powers ADA, to help validate and secure things behind the scenes. So it's part of Cardano's world. It's not outside of it. Now, one source even described Midnight as Cardano's first partner chain, benefiting from Cardano's mature network and helping expand its capabilities. So rather than competing with Cardano for dominance, Midnight rides on Cardano's shoulders. Think of Cardano then as a big bustling city and Midnight as a kind of high security vault in that city. Now the vault has extra privacy, thick walls, combination locks, so Only authorized people can actually see what is inside the vault. But the vault is still sitting on Cardano's foundation, protected by the city's police, the Cardano's network validators that is, and it's connected to the city's infrastructure. It's not a new city altogether. It's an exclusive chamber within the city. Now, this realization actually flipped a lot of people's perspectives, because Midnight isn't Cardano's enemy at all. It's more like Cardano's secret ally, right? Handling the sensitive stuff that Cardano's main chain isn't meant to handle openly. Now, I wasn't the only one who had this kind of epiphany, right? Jason Appleton, you might know this guy as he's known from, at least on YouTube, as 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗱. Now, he chimed in saying essentially the same thing here, that Midnight is not here to replace Cardano. It's actually here to complement it. Now, he pointed out that Midnight, or at least as Midnight takes the lead on privacy features, it's doing so within Cardano's ecosystem, not off on its own little island. In other words, any success that Midnight has in the privacy arena will feed back to Cardano's success, not distract from it. Now, those who were crying competition were just missing the point that it's one team, one fight. Even Charles Hoskinson, Cardano's founder, jumped into this conversation to squash all those rumors. He famously referred to Midnight as his second kid, implying that Cardano is the firstborn. Now, I laughed, of course, when I read that. It's this classic Hoskinson metaphor right there. You don't abandon your firstborn, do you? You're just proud to have another addition to the family. Now, Charles basically said, look, Cardano isn't going anywhere. Midnight is just adding to the family. In fact, he's so excited about Midnight that he's starting a whole weekly podcast about it called Night Shift, to kind of talk exclusively about Midnight's developments. So imagine dedicating a podcast to something, right? You don't do that if you're just on your side project, unless you think it's going to boost your main thing as well. Now, let's address the fear that IOG, the Cardano development arm, is shifting focus away from Cardano to Midnight. Now, IOG is indeed spearheading Midnight, but everything I found suggests that it's not an either-or situation here. It's more like IOG is recognizing that privacy is super important, something that I've been talking about since early 2020. It's the missing layer within the blockchain space. And rather than trying to kind of bolt it awkwardly onto Cardano's layer 1, they're actually just giving it its own space while still keeping it connected to Cardano. It's actually a rather smart move if you think about it. Maintain Cardano's public ledger strength and add privacy features via a connected chain. Now, this way, Cardano's proper, or at least proper can, remain scalable and decentralized, right? And Midnight can handle the niche needs of privacy without bloating up Ada's chain. This is far from neglecting Cardano. IOG is actually expanding its reach. As Alex Yu emphasized earlier, Midnight anchors back to Cardano's main chain for security and consensus, ensuring it's secured by the same mechanisms that power ADA, the very opposite of a zero-sum competition. So at this point in my research, that knot in my stomach, it was gone. In fact, I started feeling rather excited about this. The whole saga went from, oh no, Cardano might have an internal rival, to, wow, Cardano is about to get even more powerful by embracing privacy. It's kind of like thinking your favorite sports team lost a star player, only to find out that they signed a new all-star that plays a different position. You strengthen your team without benching your old star. And guess what? The market might be catching on to this too. There's been a surge of interest in privacy coins and privacy technology lately across crypto. Did you notice? Over the past month or so, legacy privacy projects have been skyrocketing. Zcash, ZEC, jumped by 246% in October alone. And Dash, that shot up 228% to around $128 in the same period. Now, those are insane gains that we haven't seen in a long time. It seems like, anonymity and privacy are becoming the talk of the town again in crypto. Charles Hoskinson himself noted this trend. He pointed that Zcash's rise as evidence that privacy is the next big narrative in the crypto cycle. And Hoskinson wants Cardano to ride that wave via Midnight. Now, so from that kind of perspective, Midnight isn't a distraction, is it? It's Cardano making a timely move to tap into a booming arena. Now, we've already seen how privacy features can attract users, and now Cardano is positioning itself to offer just that, without sacrificing its core principles. By the way, in case you're wondering how the good old ADA token fits into all of this, well, if Midnight draws more users into Cardano's ecosystem for private smart contracts, that could indirectly benefit ADA. For one, Cardano stake pool operators, like yours truly, are actually likely to be involved in running Midnight nodes or validating Midnight transactions. In fact, I learned that existing Cardano SPOs, stake pool operators, will help secure Midnight and, in return, possibly earn rewards in Midnight's own token. Right? So, ADA stakers and pool operators may get new revenue streams thanks to Midnight. It's a win-win situation. Now, Cardano stays decentralized because ISPOs, or SPOs, I should say, right, handle both the networks, right? And Midnight gets instant decentralization by piggybacking on Cardano's large validator base. It also means that if you're staking ADA, you're indirectly supporting the Midnight network security too. Pretty cool synergy, right? And don't worry, ADA isn't being replaced by Cardano's currency here. Midnight has its own token for its internal mechanics too. That's Dust and Night tokens for private transactions. But ADA remains the primary token of Cardano. In fact, Hoskinson said ADA and Midnight tokens will coexist, and Cardano's still the firstborn. So no, ADA isn't going to be obsolete because of Midnight. If anything, ADA's utility could grow because Cardano covers more use cases. Now, up until this point, I was focused on Midnight, or at least what Midnight is not a rival, not a replacement, and what it is, a privacy sidechain extension to Cardano. So let me share the moment that all of this really clicked for me then. I was reading detailed breakdowns of how Midnight's architecture works, and one line struck me here. Essentially, Midnight expands Cardano's capabilities without compromising its core. They even showed a chart of Midnight's block producers syncing Cardano's block data through dedicated nodes to create privacy-enhanced blocks with selective revealability information. Now, in non-tech terms, that means that Midnight can keep certain data secret, but still anchor those transactions in Cardano's ledger for security. Now, my realization was this. Cardano is quietly becoming a multi-dimensional network. Public when you need public, private when you need private. Now, that's the best of both worlds, right? That's when I went from merely relieved to genuinely optimistic here. It reframed how I see Cardano's future. Cardano isn't behind the curve, it's potentially about to leap ahead by offering something that even Ethereum struggles with. Remember, right? Ethereum doesn't natively do private transactions either. Projects like, Aztec had to be added to that, right? And Monero is its own chain too. So Cardano's approach is actually quite elegant and could attract businesses and users who need privacy but also want security and scalability of a major blockchain. At this point, I said to myself, all right, the news was pretty good. Time to probably double check. Is there a catch, right? Am I missing something here? So I looked for any official words of caution, and that's when I remembered time for a bit of a reality check and a quick disclaimer, because this one might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile, and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your own responsibility, and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into how this Midnight revelation has actually influenced what I'm doing with my ADA and other crypto investments here, because understanding the technology and the news is one thing, but as investors, we also have to think about how can I position myself for this? Well, for me, it reaffirmed a core strategy that I have, making my ADA work for me whilst I hold it. Now, if you've watched the channel before, you know that I do run a Cardano stake pool with the ticker CHEEK, C-H-E-E-K. Shameless plug, I know, but it is relevant here, right? The reason that I mention it is because staking is one of the best ways to support the network and earn passive ADA returns and rewards at the same time. Now, when I saw that ADA isn't being left in the dust by midnight, it actually gave me even more confidence to keep my ADA staked and active rather than actually just sitting in a wallet doing nothing. Now, if you're a holder of ADA and you're not staking yet, you might want to consider it, because by delegating to a stake pool like 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰𝗍𝗃, CHEEK, then you actually earn rewards every single epoch. Your ADA, it never leaves your wallet, it's not locked up, you remain in full control and can move it at any time. But it generates you a yield. So it's literally making your ADA work harder for you instead of just waiting idly for some future price moonshot. Now, I started my pool because I wanted to contribute to the decentralization and also benefit the community here. And yes, those extra ADA rewards, well, they're nice. So if you're already staking with another pool, but you enjoy this channel, then moving your stake with us is a fantastic way to support what we do here. It's basically fuel that keeps this content coming. And I do truly appreciate everyone who has joined our pool already. If you're directly helping us basically keep the lights on and do the research here. Now, speaking of earning crypto passively, let me tell you about the little side quest that I've been on, something called Unity. Now, this isn't the main focus of today's video, of course, but it does fit into the story because it's another example of exploring new technology and tools in the crypto space as part of my own personal journey. Now, some of you probably have heard me mention Unity many times before. It's not entirely new to this channel, but in a nutshell, Unity, found at unitynodes.io, is a community project that was founded by World Mobile and Minutes Network. Think of Unity as their baby, if you will, where you actually run a node on your everyday devices like a smartphone, and in exchange, you actually earn rewards. It's kind of like passive income by contributing to a decentralized telecoms network that uses your device to basically make verification calls to confirm whether the local telecoms network and grid is working as it should. And everything is recorded on the World Mobile chain. Now, I was intrigued by this concept, so I actually went ahead and purchased a Unity Masternode NFT, which came with 200 licenses, meaning that I can connect up to 200 smartphones or devices to the network under that one NFT umbrella. Now, I'm not going crazy here all at once. I am starting with a small test of 10 phones to see how this works in practice. If it goes well, then I'm probably going to look to scale up gradually. The cool part is, though, that I can actually choose to be paid in various different cryptocurrencies. I've opted to be receiving my payouts in things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and ADA, of course, right? Why those? Because they're assets that I believe in the longer term, right? More Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, and Cardano earned passively over time is a big win in my book. And I'm going to take the ADA that I earn and I'm going to stake it to my stake pool to compound even further rewards, right? So this is like stacking more crypto without buying any more by leveraging the hardware that I already have. Now, let me stress, Unity might not be for absolutely everyone, right? It's something that I'm experimenting with, but not something that I'm saying you must go out and do, right? You should always do your own research, right, on all of these kind of things. Now, I've read the Unity light paper, I've played with their rewards calculator, and I'm going to put some links in the description down below for those if you are curious. So far, the concept looks pretty solid to me. Use my devices to support this telecoms grid verification process and get some crypto in return. Kind of a bit of a no-brainer if you have the technical know-how, although, to be honest with you, you're just running a smartphone application and it is very simple to set up. And if you have got a few phones lying around, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Anyway, I know that many of you guys have heard me talk about Unity before, so this isn't a huge surprise to anyone anyway. The idea of decentralized networks using everyday devices has been floating around for a while, right? World Mobile has been an OG in the Cardano community, as many of you guys probably know. And Unity just seems to be executing on a lot of those ideas too. Just an update from me though, I did pick up a few extra nodes and my plan is an interesting one with them. Right, I'm going to lease out those extra licenses to people in the community who are interested in Unity but don't want to have to manage a full master node for themselves. Like this way, people can dip their toes into Unity using one of two of my licenses, right? And they're still going to earn some solid rewards. And yes, we'll get a cut on the channel here to pay for the license or to pay for the node itself, and of course, just to help the channel stay active. Now, it's a win-win situation, right? I'm exploring, it lowers the barrier to entry for other people who want to get involved in things like Unity. I'll also have more information about all of this down in our Discord, which is linked in the description below. Now, of course, a Discord is a fantastic place about sharing opportunities and learning together. Bringing all this back to Cardano though, because at the end of the day, that is my first crypto love here, right? So I see, something like Unity nodes as complementary to my Cardano journey. Why? Because the extra ADA or XRP that I earn from Unity, I can just funnel back into staking or hodling, right? Like I say, passive income compounds more when it comes into the staking element for ADA. So it's like creating an ecosystem of passive income that feeds into itself. Now my ADA from staking grows and my other assets grow from Unity, and I roll those gains into more staking, or perhaps even just grabbing some juicy dips in the market, right? In crypto, I've learned that it pays to kind of have plan A, plan B in place, plan C, go beyond, right? Now, this crypto space, it is unpredictable, right? We've all seen it. We've seen exchanges suddenly halt withdrawals, go down during peak volatility, or completely go bankrupt like FTX, right? And steal everybody's crypto assets. That's why I personally sign up and KYC on as many reputable exchanges as I possibly can. You just never know when you're going to need a backup. Now, I have accounts with the big ones, right? Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, and so forth. And some lesser known ones, maybe like 𝗗𝗀𝘀 or 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗰 right? By the way, I do use things like BitGet and 𝗗𝗀𝘀 quite a bit for my leverage trades. And I have a lot of affiliate links on all the exchanges that I do personally use. And if you do go to my website via the link that's in the description to see all of the exchanges that I do use, you'll find all of my links, and those links actually support the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. So consider it kind of like a tip jar that gives you access to a solid trading platform and also supports the channel here. Now, the reason that I mention all of this is part of my risk management. I always have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C for these exchanges, because if one goes down or has an issue, I can just quickly move to another one to manage my funds. It saved my bacon during a couple of incidences in the past. And yes, in full compliance with all of the transparency, any signups on those links, exchanges like, Kraken, 𝗗𝗀𝘀, BitGet, or whatever, actually are affiliate links that support the channel here at no extra cost to yourself. So thank you for anyone who does go over to our website, checks out those links, and signs up, because it really is appreciated. And I'm able to just spend more time diving into all of this research instead of, let's say, doing the boring kind of selling of insurance. No offense, insurance folk. All right, let's kind of refocus and head towards the finish line here. What is the climax of this whole Midnight saga for me? Well, it's the realization that Cardano is not standing still here. For a while, Cardano was criticized. Some said development was too slow, or that it was innovating or wasn't innovating like some newer chains were, right? But here we are, we have proof that Cardano's ecosystem is indeed evolving in a very thoughtful way. The team identified a gap, privacy, and instead of forcing it into kind of a haphazardly kind of way, they actually built a parallel solution that complements the main network. It shows that Cardano can chew gum and walk all at the same time, maintain a robust public network and public blockchain, and roll out a cutting-edge privacy sidechain simultaneously. This reframes Cardano from being just another L1 to, actually being one most multi-chain ecosystem in and of itself. It's a twist that maybe a lot of people didn't see coming a year or so ago, and it makes me even more confident in the path forward. Let's reflect on all of this for a second, right? The rumor mill had many of the community momentarily convinced that Cardano was having an identity crisis or that the community would split. But in reality, it's more united than it has been ever before, and I mean ever in purpose anyway. Charles Hoskinson has been actively engaging, debunking the FUD, the fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt, and sharing his own vision. He's even scheduled a Midnight Summit hackathon for November 17th to 19th, where developers and enthusiasts will come together to hack on Midnight and unveil more details. It's like a coming out party, I guess, for Midnight, happening right alongside Cardano's regular development. Midnight launch for Midnight is expected later this year too, fingers crossed. So we're on the cusp of seeing all of this come to fruition. So you can bet that I'm going to be tuning in to that summit, maybe even reporting on what comes out of a future, or at least in a future video or so, right? Because there's also talk that after Midnight goes live, we'll see a new wave of decentralized applications that actually use its privacy features. Imagine decentralized finance apps on Cardano that can protect user privacy, or identity solutions where your personal details are not exposed to the world. Well, that is potentially huge. So, the takeaway from my midnight deep dive here: don't let knee-jerk reactions fool you. In crypto, rumors run rampant, and it's easy to get caught up in the panic of the moment. I almost did, I'll admit. For a brief moment, I thought, oh no, did I need to rethink my Cardano investments? But by staying curious and digging deeper, I came out not only reassured, but actually more bullish on the ecosystem. Cardano's secret twin, Midnight, turned out not to be the threat, but a blessing that's in disguise. It reminded me why I got into Cardano in the first place: a strong community, innovative research-driven developments, and an eye on the longer game. Now, this journey also reinforced my approach to crypto in general. Stay informed, stay diversified, and always have your crypto working for you, whether through staking, running nodes, or just continuously learning. I'm genuinely excited about what's next. The next few months could be pretty eventful for ADA holders. Maybe ADA's price will start to reflect some of this progress, who really knows? For context, at the time of this recording, ADA has been trading in the mid-50s, approaching 60-cent range, and even popping nearly 6% towards that 60-cent range, as I said, amid some recent positive sentiment. Now, it's held up pretty decently, especially as people digest the news of upcoming upgrades. Some analysts think that ADA could see a steady climb if the broader crypto market cooperates. But, I'm not here to make price predictions. I'm just going to leave that to analysts on Twitter for now. But I will say that I feel a lot better holding ADA now, knowing what I know. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, stacking and staking my ADA, exploring promising projects like Unity for supplemental gains, and staying plugged into the wider community for the discussion. Now, as we wrap up, I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this story. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, from fear to investigation to revelation to action as well. These are the kinds of personal crypto adventures that make this space so engaging and occasionally stressful. So if you found this video helpful or even illuminating, then you're exactly the person that I make this content for. So feel free to drop a comment down below about what you think of Midnight. Are you excited, skeptical, or still have questions? Let's chat about it. And definitely hop into the Discord if you want to discuss more in depth. We have a great group that's in there. If you've enjoyed this journey, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to join me for the next deep dive. Until next time though, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.